did you see the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special with Kevin Bacon?
Oh, really?
It was so good.
Hmm.
You gotta go find that. Hey, Mertz, are you smart?
You serious?
And relative to what, like a sloth?
Well, no,
What?
I'm not talking about 2 + 2 = 5 here, okay?
The whole world going mad, bruh. 2 + 2 = 5.
I'm talking
Well,
about your goals.
Sloths have 4. They can count to 4.
I can only count to
4 toes, I think.
Okay. Do they have smart goals?
I think sloths have very good goals to just eat.
To eat. Okay.
We-
Is that relative to your New Year's goal?
Oh, well, I mean, my New Year's goal would be to, I don't know. Yeah, and now it's that time of year. I guess we got to start thinking
Yeah,
about
we
it.
got to start thinking about it, even though
Yeah.
it's only December, right? It's really time to start
You
getting
should have an idea of going
you're
into the
going.
new year, what your goal is for next year or as long, and that goes really, the idea is that what a goal is, you want to set something that's achievable, right? And there's probably, I think there's an acronym for SMART,
Yeah,
right?
there is.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, I'm Coach Tanya.
And I'm Coach Mertz.
Today we're talking about SMART goals. Welcome to the Affiliate Soapbox.
Cheers. Yeah, let's go.
Hey.
Let's go.
All right. So, yes, SMART goals. So, a SMART goal, like talk about the acronym specific. So, you want a goal, you're like, maybe it's, I want to improve my 500-meter row time. Okay. So, that's specific, but it's not maybe specific enough. So, currently I row 500 meters in 1 minute and 58 seconds.
Okay.
So, let's say my goal is I want to improve my row time to beat that.
1
Maybe I
minute.
want to bring it. No. Oh,
No?
no.
That's too
I'm
much?
short. That's
That's
just
too
not.
much?
I've been cursed by being unfairly short. I don't think that's going to happen. No, folks. But seriously, so I might say if my current 500-meter row time is 1 minute 58 seconds, might want to bring that down to say 1 minute 48 seconds. Maybe we get a little bit more realistic with it.
Oh, yeah.
1
That
minute
realistically needs to
52
happen.
seconds. So specific, measurable. So now we have this measure of how I want to improve, what I want to improve, and achievable. So maybe I won't drop it by a full 10, 20, or 30 seconds. Definitely not down to a minute. I don't think that's currently achievable, right? And then is it relevant?
I think it's like you reach for the stars, you land on the moon kind of idea there, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. Stars, moon, relative position. We'll get into that later. But yeah, is it relevant? Is it relevant to me? Is it relevant to where I am? Is it relative to what I actually do? So if I've never been on a rower before and, I don't row on a regular basis, if I don't do fitness consistently, this may not be relevant to me, right? It might be something where I decide I'm going to set this goal randomly out of thin air. So that's not a goal that we want. That wouldn't be considered smart, right? And then we're going to look at time bound. So what's the time frame within which I want to improve my rowing?
1 week.
My pace.
So, yeah.
No. So when I asked if you were smart, the answer is no. I think
Okay.
it's a hard no. Okay. So let's talk about what that time frame might be. That time frame might be within the next 6 months.
Yeah, it's got
Okay.
to be something that's relatively can happen, right? And it doesn't need something short. It doesn't need some, can it be long? You can always, I think, when it comes down to the acronym SMART, right, is when we put a goal down, is you're right. We want to put down something that's definitely achievable, something that has a time format that doesn't put you in a situation for failure.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's like Greg Everett of Catalyst Athletics said, set intentions or goals, not expectations, because expectations will set you up
Correct.
for failure,
Yeah.
right? So one of the ways to make sure you're setting a goal and a SMART goal versus an expectation is to talk to a coach, right? Talk to your coaches, talk to a mentor, talk to an expert in the field, someone who has experience with this. For instance, if someone would come into the gym and say, hey, coach, it is December and I want to lose 125 pounds by February. Okay, so we've got something specific.
Yeah.
We've got something measurable, and there's a time limit there.
Yeah,
It's time
yeah.
bound, but it's not achievable. It's
Yeah, the
not
150
realistic. No,
pounds
it's
is
not
not realistic.
realistic. It's not healthy. And certainly
No.
something, my answer to that would be, let's sit down and talk about what a more realistic goal is for you. Let's talk about why. Why do you want to
Yeah.
meet that goal? So,
Yeah.
what is your goal? Do you have a goal?
You know, my goals constantly change. I think that's part of life. I think things come in and come out of your life where, you talked to me last year. My goal was this year coming up was to to go back to nationals and weightlifting, and right now that's just not on my plate. So, goals. For instance, I set a goal for myself for my birthday, before my birthday, which was last month, a few weeks ago, to be able to hold the 15-second handstand hold.
Oh,
And my birthday came and went. And now, did I practice it much? I didn't get a chance to practice it much. So sometimes the goals, maybe I set myself up for failure. I didn't put a plan. And that's probably why I failed at doing that goal, because I didn't put a plan. I did all necessary requirements. I downloaded some good from Invictus Gymnastics, some very good app that can kind of help structure me to get that goal. And I went on that, and it was one of those things. Life happened, and I just never got a chance to get to it. So, uh, you know, I think going back to like the failure of a goal, it doesn't. The word failure is a tough word. I don't want to put that next to any kind of goal. If I put a goal up on the board, I go into the idea that I want to do it. And I'm going to set myself up with a plan to achieve it. And the idea is that if that date comes and goes, but I've been working on that goal, is it a failure? Probably not. Maybe you got
probably
close. If you
not.
got closer to your goal, that's still a good thing.
So maybe what we need to add in there is accountability.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you say, you tell me this, I put my goal on the board. I've been working on this goal and I didn't hit the mark, at least not by the time frame I set up. Okay. So as a coach, I'm saying, well, what did you do? What were the steps you took?
Yeah.
How did you set little milestones along the way, or did you set those milestones along the way? Were they reasonable milestones? Like, if, for instance, your goal was to get back to nationals, okay, so we need to look at improving your technique. So have you been working on your lifting? Have you made sure that you are consistently getting to the gym, not skipping snatch day, right? Have you looked at what percentages you're lifting at? What is your current ability, right, for load
Yeah.
on those lifts? Realistically, how much training volume,
Yeah.
do you have going in? So how accountable have you been? Because anybody can throw a goal up there and say, well, yeah, I've been working on it. Well, if you worked on it once a month, you can tell me you're working on it.
No,
Right?
consistency
But
matters,
that's not
right?
necessarily how you should have been working on it. So you need someone with experience and someone to give you input and someone to call you. Hey, Mertz, I didn't see you in the gym all week. Where have you been, Lance? I mean, you tell me you have these goals. Let's talk about how to get you in here and make these happen. So,
Yeah.
and I think that also goes to taking those goals. And so we have this big goal. Let's say I'm going to put a goal out there
Okay.
for the new year. Currently, I can do 2 strict pull-ups without having to drop down from the pull-up bar. I want to increase that to 5 strict pull-ups unbroken.
So more than double.
So more than double. So coach, let's talk. If that's my goal, so I made it specific, it's measurable, right? I
Sure.
want to go from 2 to 5.
Do you have a time frame?
I don't, because that's why I'm talking to my
Yeah.
coach. What's a realistic time frame for me, Coach Mertz?
Relatively speaking, I think that if you're essentially trying to double that right there, I mean, even though 2's not a high volume, 5 is kind of that sweet number for a lot of females to get to on a strict pull up. And that could take 6 months. It just matters and I think what matters there is how we accumulate the muscle mass to be able to do that. With all the while of getting in consistency throughout the week of CrossFit class. So how much time can we dedicate to developing the pulling strength for that? I think the idea there is that if we want to have a goal like that, and it can be shorter than 6 months, it might be a fraction of 3 months, maybe you can half that. It just I think it goes to the plan. How much time do we have how much time extra in the week can we dedicate to to getting extra pulling strength, pulling reps with a barbell, with rings, with any kind of apparatus that we can use to increase the pulling strength. I think that's where it kind of comes down to it. The question would be, Tanya, all right, so if you want to get from 2 to 5 reps and you say 3 months, okay, well, we probably need to add in probably 3 times a week, a little more pulling strength.
So what if I don't have that, coach? I can only come to class 5 days a week. I don't have extra time to devote. So then what do I need to do? Maybe I need to move my goalpost, right? Maybe I need to move it out to 6 months.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe I need to double that time. Because in a CrossFit class, generally we're working on all different things. We talked last week about we don't do cycles, right? But what can help increase my pulling strength is the bent over row, the pendulum row, okay? I'm increasing that pulling strength every time I do a deadlift or an Olympic lift because that really forces you to engage that upper body. We don't think about it necessarily like that all the time, but I'm engaging those lats, okay? So there's all these other movements that can help improve my pulling strength that aren't me coming in trying to do more pull-ups every single day, right? A lot of scat pull-ups, some other strength work that are already incorporated. So if I'm just, talking to me as an athlete, you might be telling me, well, if you can't set aside extra time during the week, which many of us can't, then it's going to take a little bit longer. But maybe you're telling me how to focus more on that technique. We're talking about, okay, we need to really think about making sure you're not skipping days just because it's ring muscle ups are scheduled for that day. Well, maybe you need to come in, Tanya, and maybe you need to
hit those days. That
hit
it's on the
those
board.
days, and you need to work on these scaling options for both the pull-ups and learning some of that pulling strength that you are going to need for that ring muscle up.
And another part too is that you could, and I've seen success happen with females on this, and I say females a lot because
you do say females a lot.
Well, and the reason why is that most females do lack the requirement strength to do a pull up, and I think it's one of the most females' goals.
I can see a lot of CrossFit world hate coming your way.
No, not really. I mean, I think it's a known thing, and it's just what I like to tell people that want to increase their pull ups. Volume is subtle volume can help too. For instance, what I mean by that, you come to class, you take the hour class, you have 5 minutes to leave, go hit the ring rows, do some ring rows to finish up, do a little burner to finish up. You can always sneakily add in a little more pulling volume here and there without structurally, messing up your week of training going to CrossFit class. You could do subtle things like that. There's always ways. There's more than one way to skin a cat, so to say. And
don't skin cat, folks. We are not promoting cat skinning.
It's like I remember when a long time ago, the record at the gym for strict pull-ups was like 18, and so
nice.
I remember like, okay, I'm gonna beat that goal. Whoever had that. I was like, I'm gonna do that. So I would come in I would come in before class and after class, and I would just, all right, today I would do 5 strict pull-ups. The next day I would do 6 strict pull-ups, then do 7, then do 8, then go back down to 5. And I kind of did this like increasing volume to get to 10, get to 11, come back down, get to 12. And I did it so much that the coaches actually told me, they were like, Mertz, you need to add some push-ups in there too. Because I was doing so much pulling that I could possibly cause.
Yeah, you need that complementary.
I need the complementary strength,
you need
right?
To train.
So
those other muscles.
And that goes back to the part of what I was saying, adding in these sneaking little volume in. You can sneakily add some volume in, but you got to be careful with how you approach that, because you do need to do complementary movements. When you do pulling, you should do some pushing, because if otherwise you could have an injury happen.
You got the agonist and the protagonist in that muscle movement. Yeah. I think one of the things I talked to you about, because if you are saying I want to make it back to that national weightlifting stage, or a couple of things, is how are you sleeping? Okay. What does your sleep look like?
The damn time change.
Time. I got my hour back. I don't know what everybody's complaining about. I got my hour back, and I want to keep it.
I was waking up right before 5 o'clock in the morning without the use of alarm a lot of times. And when that happened, you would think, okay, well, it worked. It did not work for me. I am actually having the hardest times getting out of bed now than I did before the time change. I hate the time change. Just leave it alone. That's a whole nother podcast.
It is a whole other podcast, but I do think you need to talk to Renee. Renee is our nutrition coach, but he focuses on sleep and stress and all overall
I mean,
health and wellness.
I get my 8 hours in still, but I just don't. I wake up just feeling like I just don't want to get out of bed.
Okay,
That could be the weather. It could
and
be a
that's
lot
going
of
to
things.
affect your goals and your ability to push through on those goals. Sleep is now, more known, more so than it used to be. That those of us who used to brag about those 4 hours of sleep, those 5 hours, like, oh, I exist on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. That's not something to be proud of, right? Now you want to be pushing that 7, 8, even 9 hours of sleep. I know that that's tough, especially in today's world, but the sleep that you're getting to push you towards those goals has a huge impact on your performance and your ability to do that. Your nutrition, like, what are you eating? What am I eating, right? What are we doing to push ourselves physically to be able to meet these goals we've put up on the board?
Yeah, I think one of the first steps to getting good night's sleep is dedicating a time to go to bed. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to sleep well and you're saying, well, I'll go to bed like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, that's just not going to cut it. And it's just not. I don't, the whole circadian rhythm of our bodies and how we go out throughout the year and how we sleep, getting into bed at a respectable time, even if you're laying in bed and reading a book, that's one of the things I love to do is I get in bed, I'll read a book, and then 15 minutes later, maybe 30 minutes if I have a little, I'm trying
too much energy,
too much energy, right? And endorphins are still kind of kicking a little bit. But anyway, I like to go to bed and read a book, and I'll get in bed. I have an alarm on my phone that tells me 7:49 p.m. every night, get ready for bed.
Yep.
And
Same.
at that point, when that thing goes off, I'm going to take my shower, doing all these things to get ready to set up for bed. And I think that is if you're going to set a goal and be smart about it, those are the things. It's just this habit tracking kind of things. Like, it's a habit.
Right.
It's a habit you need to create with the idea that when you go into this habit, if you want to get better sleep, you need to, and I hate to say it, even comes down to on the weekends. That's one of the biggest things. That's the hardest thing to sleep track. Is a lot of times people on the weekends, it's like, well, it's a weekend. I can stay up a little later.
Sleep in.
I can sleep in, and that's all just causing your body to do this. So trying to set a time, even on the weekends, even if you go to bed a little bit later on the weekends, that's probably okay, but we don't want to push it too far back.
Right. And so you brought up the word habits, right? So let's talk about habits versus something like an actual weight loss goal, a habit versus a performance goal, right?
Yeah.
So those habits, which we can look at as smaller goals. So if I'm looking at your overall plan, I'm looking at your sleep. We want to get you back on that national stage. So I'm looking at your plan. I'm like, well, Mertz, one of the first things we need to do is fix your sleep. But what's the easiest way to do that? Easiest way to do that is say, give me 5 minutes. Give me an extra 5 minutes. So maybe you set that alarm for 7:44, right?
Yeah.
We get you into bed 5 minutes earlier. Hopefully you fall asleep 5 minutes early. We keep adding these little milestones that in the beginning don't look like they have much to do with getting back on that Olympic stage, but realistically they will have a big impact. So these small milestones, these little habits will lead to those bigger achievable goals. And along those same lines, I think a lot of folks come in and, well, coach, I want to lose some weight. And that's a very respectable goal, right? Obesity is a problem. It leads to, chronic illnesses. It leads to heart issues. It leads to high cholesterol. So coming in saying you want to lose, maybe it is 100 pounds. Okay. Do I focus on weighing you every single week? Do I talk about, okay, what's your weight? What's your weight? What's your weight? No. With that goal in mind, I'm setting habits for you. One of the habits is going to be sleep. Renee is going to look in and set your habits for nutrition, right? Maybe it's getting in more protein. Another habit you're looking at is your consistency in the gym. So because you have this other goal that might be weight loss, the first thing I'm looking at is, let's look at your mechanics. How often can you come into the gym? Let's really work on honing in on that technique of all the different movements, especially our weightlifting, right? And improve that so we can get you in the gym more consistently, so we can get you doing more movements, lifting more weight, adding more volume, right?
Yeah.
Adding different movements and gymnastics. And those little goals. So let's say you come in and we had one athlete and her goal was to lose weight. And we've talked about this before, Carolyn. She didn't have a goal to get out of a chair without using the arms or assistance from somebody else. But we started having her do squats, and we started having her do squats with first PVC pipes to help support herself. Then we moved up. She was able to increase to no assisted squats. And then after that, we started adding dumbbells. And as we started working on this small goal of her being able to get up out of a chair with no assistance, and then to do it with load, right?
Yeah.
Bearing dumbbells or something else, suddenly she's starting to drop weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me say this. You want to begin with the end in mind. And what I mean by that is identity. Identity is a huge thing, because when we're talking about all these little habits, okay, or these little goals, all these little things structure us to an identity that we want to achieve. And in that identity, if you want to be a fit person, you start asking questions to yourself. Okay, if you're going to the grocery, would a fit person eat that? Would a fit person do this? Would a fit person do that? If you want to be fit, if you want to, and I think we're in a gym, we're in a CrossFit gym. So I think everybody's main goal here is to be fit. Now, where is that along the spectrum can be, like Caroline, she wants to start, she's starting down here, and she's these increments of
She
going
wanted
up,
to
right?
drop weight, right?
Where somebody who comes in who might be a major athlete is already here and needs to go up a little, wants to get a little higher.
They want to increase their performance. They want to shave down that row time.
But the
right?
idea is that we want an identity that we want to so and so develop into. And what that identity is, can help you, again, asking those questions to yourself. Why am I doing this? What do I want to do with this? Where do I want to go? Because when we start talking about like these little habits, we call them atomic habits. They're small. They're manicular.
Minuscule?
No, well,
Minute?
What is the damn cell inside your body?
Molecular. Oh, that's where you were going with
Molecular.
that. The producer over here
it's early in the morning
with the answer. More coffee. The duck is failing you today.
But it's these little small things that we set ourselves up for success. And when we're talking about the going back to the SMART of how we set these fitness goals, if your idea is a fitness goal, but there's also outside the gym, there might be goals in life. Like a lot of times I will, when I'm doing a goal board, I not only just put on the goal board something inside the gym, but what about outside the gym? Maybe it's something business-wise that you want to achieve. Maybe it's something mindset-wise. Maybe there's other things besides at the gym that and what that can show is that even getting into the gym will help those things out. Right? That black box theory of when you structure yourself inside the gym, show up consistently. I can't talk.
Consistently?
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Isn't it smart, you guys? We're going to take a vote at the end. We're going to put a poll in the podcast, and everybody's going to vote. Just let us know.
But showing up consistently, right? And doing all these things inside the gym, testing yourself, your metal out in that workout today, digging a little deeper. Last week I was talking about, I forgot which workout it was, but it was talking about the pain cave, about how to, when things start to get tough inside the workout and you start developing these negative thoughts, like, I just want to quit. I just want to put this thing down. And the coach is, no, keep going. You're doing well. Keep going. I was telling, build yourself a little, like a pain cave, make a fire, think of pina coladas, just get through that workout. Because if you can structure yourself up success in that workout and finish strong, it'll lend itself outside the gym. And these goals, again, going back to it, if your goal is to, I'm not gonna say, look, you can't sit there and say, well, I want to make $2 million next year in my business. I mean, if you're making, you could, if you're already making $1 million.
All right,
but,
all the business mentors, come on, flood in with your comments here.
I mean, you could if you're already making $1 million, but if you're making, I don't know, let's just say 6 figures, $100,000, making $2 million next year might not be. It's kind of like that going back to 150 pounds, trying to lose 150 pounds in 6 months. It's just not going to happen.
Maybe,
right?
and I think I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you there. But I think in order to find that out and to know that, we need to have someone who's tread those waters before.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we might be calling up Alex Hormozy. Hey, right? Can I make $2 million next
Well,
year? Maybe it's the guys at Big Little Gyms. I don't know. Maybe Best Hour has something in their pocket to show us for this. I don't know.
Maybe so. But the idea there is it just goes back to the fundamentals of achievable goal. And I like to have the idea when the gym is a great place to start.
It is a great place.
It's a
to
great
start.
place to start. Most people talk about hormonesy and just about any. You talk to you listen to talk. Not that I get to talk to these people much, but I listen to a lot of them. And if you notice, the one thing they'll have a habit of is getting into the gym.
Absolutely. It's creating that first
Yeah.
habit for yourself. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things we don't pay enough attention to is what are we doing to improve our ability to do something for ourselves? And that's actually an issue. We think
Yeah.
about, well, I'll just, it's not that hard. Do something for yourself. Take time for yourself. If you have a family, if you have more than one job, if you even have one job and you're working 16, 18 hours a day, it can be a struggle. Like when I said earlier, Coach, I can only come 5 days a week. Many folks can't manage 5 times a week, and a lot of that has to do with everything else going on in their lives. So finding ways to give yourself that extra 5 minutes at the gym, that extra 5 minutes of sleep, that might be that first little goal, that first milestone that can lead you to these bigger goals, whether it's $2 million next year, whether it's getting back on the world weightlifting stage, whether it's getting my 5 strict unbroken pull-ups. Okay. So it's finding that little time to set aside to help yourself with these small things that'll eventually lead to those bigger goals. So again, now that we've talked about goals, I'd like to wrap it up with Mertz. What is an actual goal for you? I want you to state it. I stated my goal. I want you to give me an actual goal, because I'm actually asking you to give me a SMART goal for next year.
All right. Put me on a spot here. The bright light. Just okay. So
You're getting interrogated. Is this a podcast?
Well, yeah. I mean, life is always curveballs. So I mean, to keep it simple, because a lot of times, sometimes just keep going back to what you're saying, that to choose something simple. I have an idea of the larger goal that I want to see happen over this next year, but keep it as simple. I think for me is we'll stay inside the gym. I could go outside the gym and get deep, but I'm gonna stay inside the gym. And going back to Olympic weightlifting, I don't think that's really not in the cards for me much at the moment. So I don't have the time nor the commitment or the time to commit to doing that. I think right now, where I'll probably want to put my goal at would be, and I won't go back to that handstand hold. I want to get back to a 400-pound deadlift.
3 months. What are you at right now?
My max is, last time I tested it, I think I was able to pull, 375.
375. Okay.
Yeah,
We're going to sit down. We're going to write out a plan.
And this is
we're gonna
tough
talk about
because I was once able to deadlift 485. So it's getting back to that when I remember last year we were doing deadlifts and 400 was on the bar, and I haven't tried 400 in a while, and I couldn't get off the ground. I was totally like, just, it was tough. That was a tough moment.
You want to add, so you're telling me you want to add 25 pounds to your deadlift in 3 months? If I said that to you, would you find that realistic?
I think yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Stay tuned, folks. 3 months from today, we're going to come back and talk about this deadlift goal. We're going to set a plan. We're going to see how it goes. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Coach Tanya.
And I'm Coach Mertz.
This has been the Affiliate Soapbox. Please like, share, and follow. Have a great week.
It's just
3 months?
set me up for failure on that one.
3 months? 3 months.
Yeah.